So we were trying to find the right location for kind of the evolution of our company after the merger too, where we want to have more events, we want to be more of a social brand in Austin. It made sense to kind of look for a space like this one.
Yeah, and even as kind of real estate moves and has changed so much over the last 10 years that y'all have been here in Austin, you know, going from that downtown space out here to this location where there's still really cool, you know, breweries, restaurants right down. You have the access to the park. I'm sure you guys have people that are using the bikeway from downtown to get here and stuff like that. So that probably went into the decisions as well.
We knew we didn't want to be downtown, as you know, we kind of have talked through when we initially came and looked at the spaces. We really wanted something that was relaxing, peaceful, but still close enough to town that we could host events and not have people drive, you know, all over the place. So it was, you know, we found the east side, and then we kind of narrowed in on this property. We really liked the unique kind of look and feel of the building. It was first time we saw it, we're like, this is really kind of interesting. We're kind of it's a unique company, and we have some unique spaces down in Uruguay, so it was really kind of important to us to find a kind of a comparable, unique space here to kind of keep that connection.
Yeah. And this turned out to be the space. So, and proximity to the airport, to the downtown, like he said, parking. So everything turned out very well for us. Yeah. And drive also, it's not, you know, that long of a commute if, you know, employees have to drive. So everything worked out well for us that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, the location was good. As Ash said, we have people kind of spread all over the place. So finding a place that was kind of equidistant to everybody's drive. I mean, it's Austin, you're always going to have to drive. So, but trying to find something that's convenient, and this space being off of 183A and right by the airport, I mean, it was just perfect.
Yeah, so the origins of the project, we've done, you know, a handful of other projects in this development. So we were brought in really early on at the initial lease negotiation phases. When you all had a original test fit done on the space. So we were able to put some numbers to that. Y'all were able to work with the owner of the building and lease negotiations and make sure that, you know, both costs, lease, all of those things aligned with your expectations. That was in December of 21. We went through the entire lease negotiation, design phase, the original drawings of the project where we work closely with tenant, and in August of 22 we provided an initial budget and went through a round of value engineering that got us to November of 22, which we received, you know, an approval on a GMP budget to move forward. That kind of step in that entire process, where we went through and we were able to keep our pulse on the dollars of the overall project. We went through that value engineering process. We were able to cut 28% from that initial phase, which is a significant amount. You know, we typically don't get that significant amount of savings through value engineering process, but we were able to work closely with tenant to be able to do that, and then also keep, you know, the integrity of the space, of an event space that you all are proud of. You know, a few things stood out from that value engineering process where we removed some phone rooms and some offices, but we future-proofed for that, right? The power, the data, the infrastructure, the MEPs are already there in those spaces for if we want to go and add them in the future. I know through the project we had removed some ceiling clouds, some ceiling elements and stuff like that. We were tracking under the GMP partway through the project. We were able to realize, hey, we had some savings there from the GMP that we were anticipating to be able to bring those back into the project. And so that really got us to a place where we felt like we all kind of won, you know, even though we had to do a value engineering process, we were able to keep the integrity of the space and then able to bring in, you know, some elements that made the space a little bit more lively at the end. So.
Yeah, and it turned out amazing. I mean, we couldn't be happier. I mean, it turned out exactly how we hoped.
Many times we don't know what goes in the back end process. So, but this is lovely. I mean, you know, how things turned out, and we really love, and we have been appreciated a lot by our team members out there in Uruguay, how, everything has turned out to be. So yeah, it's amazing.
I've had a lot of good feedback on the space. People who've been here felt it was really welcoming, and they liked kind of the vibe we've built here with the flow and how kind of connected the space is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been great. The things that we took out during that value engineering phase, I'm not sure we missed. So
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and that's, looking back all the way when we looked at the initial and put some dollars to the test fit to going through that process, like it's just a perfect example of you all, the client, trusting us to work with the design team and saying, hey, we like these elements, we want to keep these elements, but here's our number and how do we work within that? And really trusting the process from that test fit through the initial, through the value engineering, and then you get to see what you get through those efforts at the back end. So it was a model for how that process should go, and it speaks a lot to you all trusting the process and trusting us to make that happen for you all.
Yeah, no, we really appreciate it. Turned out spectacular. I mean, it was as you said, we kept the integrity of what we wanted to do with the project, but kept the costs where we could add some nicer ceiling clouds and kind of keep some of the design elements like this kitchen that we found and the glass and things like that we found really kind of key. But it was interesting to see some of the things that were taken out and the cost of those and how they really didn't affect like the look and feel of the space. We really appreciated the team being able to find kind of those areas where it didn't affect the overall project, but it had a significant savings. So we did appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. Another thing, and stepping back all the way to that test fit, we're coming out of COVID at that time in December of 21. When we're looking at a project that, hey, we're putting test fit dollars together for a project that's 10 to 12 months down the road, you can imagine what's happening both in supply chain and construction costs.
Absolutely.
And so we're having to put together within our costs some understandings and some projections of what's going to happen in the market. And we were able to keep from that test fit all the way through the time that we got the approvals to move forward. We're able to kind of keep a pulse on that through each iteration of budgetary process. So
we stayed within budget, which was hugely important to us. I mean, we were closely budgeting this. This was kind of a big deal for us to do this, and so we wanted to make sure we kind of saw the edges, and you guys really kind of helped us do that, which kept it on budget.
Yes,
I mean,
throughout the project.
Throughout the whole project, so that was amazing.
Big alarms coming our way. So
that was great. No surprises. That's what we love. No surprises.
Said earlier, I think the way that you all went about the process is really the model for how that process should go. You got a general contractor on very, very early in a time where construction costs were crazy. So you're able to understand, how you're tracking your construction costs throughout the project. We talked about the value engineering process, which was really, really important. So I think one, getting a construction company on very, very early on and trusting that process was very important. And then the value engineering process. So we knew that we needed to make some cuts to the overall design of the project. We were able to cut 28% of the overall construction costs, which is pretty significant, and also keep the intent of the space. So that part, I think, when you are trusting the process and trusting the GC and the architect to work closely in that process to provide you with a solution to get your dollars to the point where it needs to be. Again, this project was a perfect model for doing that. Another part of that is through the entire design process, which is the fun part, which is you all working with the architect to really understand how you're using your space. You all have mentioned previously before about using it as an event space and being able to have getting groups of people together and collab and work and have events in this space. You knew that was important to you, and so making sure that that's important from the design phase understanding who you all are as a company and how you use your space. You went into some of those details earlier, but that's some of the fun part. But I think that's something that you all did very well in this space, and you can feel it when you're in the space.
Every week we used to meet, and it was good that we could make the changes. So we were always updated about what's going on. So that was nice in that way. So yes, the entire process worked out very well that way.
Yeah.
So we were there throughout the planning and the construction process. So it worked out very well.
Yeah, and so when construction started, that entire construction process, from the time that we said we provided budget and schedule, we're meeting on a weekly basis. We're talking about lead times on materials. We're talking about some design details that we're working out. You are involved in that call, that weekly OAC, and then we're kind of running down. Here's what's happened. Here's what took place last week. Here's what's happening. Here's what's upcoming in the next couple of weeks. Here's our master schedule. Here's how we're tracking on that. Here's some materials that we're working on, solutions to get here quicker. And then maybe here's an update on some costs and things like that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, that helped a big time.
Ton.
Actually.
Yeah, we were able to message those costs and keep everybody on our side appraise the situation. So everybody felt really connected to the process, which in organizations really helps to make everybody feel at ease with the process and.
We know what to expect.
And it gives everybody a better feeling when the space finally opens. It has a positive connotation. So I think it's really helped with the reception. And it's been great getting people to come up here from Uruguay. We have some folks in Houston that come here and can co-work. So it's been great.
We had a couple of clients come in here also, so we did have some meetings here, and they also love the space actually. So
Very cool. That goes back to what we were talking about, how understanding how you're using your space, and that's also another one. Is it a client facing, or is there a portion of the office that's hugely client facing? Is there your open workstations, which is really put your head down and get some work done, and then there's breakout collaboration space. There's and the corporate office and workspace has changed so drastically just even in the last 2 years coming out of COVID. I think you all did an amazing job of, and Tenant Design did an amazing job of really future-proofing this. And you all are in a perfect position in this space to have your breakout spaces, to have your collaboration spaces. That's where we're seeing more and more trends in the corporate office space, and this space is positioned well and future-proofed for those things.
I think in finding a location, it's key to really look at where you are as a company now, but also look at where you might need to go. And if that's uncertain, you really need to put that into your plan for what kind of office space you're looking for. Today, you may be a traditional company working in cubicles and having everybody come to the office, but down the road, you may need to flex that space to be able to entertain and do some other things. So my advice always is find a space that's flexible and that you carefully match to what you want to do with it. Not every building fits every company, not every space fits every use. So finding kind of a space that also portrays kind of your company culture and the vibe, that you try to produce is really important. And I think that's what really drew us here. Is this really kind of fits our aesthetic? It fits what we want to do. It was flexible. And obviously price and all these other financial aspects go into it as well. But, you're signing long-term leases for spaces. So making sure you have enough space, making sure it's the right space, making sure that it is flexible and that you can make changes, to me is really critical. And then finding the right location, obviously, too, to where your people are, where your clients are, and the type of business you do is really, really important, I think.
Absolutely, yes. I agree. I agree to what Scott said. So again, it's proximity, location. These are the factors that, again, is key and very important to actually deciding where you want to be, where you want to place your company in, airport or the hotels or the downtown. It's all very important that way.
One thing that y'all mentioned that really stands out is when you're really in tune with the culture of your company and how important the selection of the right space and the design of the space is to kind of continuing to promote over the long term of the lease the company, the culture, and those things. And you have to be so in tune with what your brand is and what your company and what your culture is in order to be able to find, select, and design a space that aligns with those things. And I think y'all did an amazing job of doing that. As you described, you talked about those kind of cool, eclectic, both tech spaces and some of the other markets that you have, and how those kind of fit both the company and the market itself, and then where your Austin office here kind of fits within that as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and you guys and everybody involved in the process. I mean, I think that would be the other thing we'd say is find the right partner to do this with.
Yeah.
And I think we hit that out of the park with you guys and everybody in tenant and everybody that's involved. And I think that's really important too, is having the right team just in anything we do. And this is no different, right? Is having the right folks that we trust are representing our interests and can help us find the ways.
Yeah.
We're not architects. We're not, we're a tech company. So finding people that could help us kind of translate that vision of this is kind of who we are and what we want our space to look like. That to me was really impressive with the team and how they did that and helped us kind of navigate that, because none of us had done construction before. As I said, we're a tech company. We can help you with AI. We can help you with the most complex tech thing, but building, no, and none of us had done it before. So it was important to us to find folks that could help us and guide us, and that was really helpful to us. That we had a partner versus just a transactional relationship.
Yeah.
We had a good partnership with everybody, and I think it shows in that things were on budget, on time. Nobody had their hair on fire. I mean, everything was smooth because of that. And I think that's key too, is finding people that you trust and that really understand. I felt like you guys really understood what we were trying to do and helping us kind of structure the space.
Yeah, that's really important to us when we're, working in the corporate interior space, to really kind of understand who you all are, what are the important things to you all. And I think that we aligned again because you all trusted the process. You were open in communicating what are the things that are important to you, both in design and in cost and in schedule. And so we're able to work with those things with that open dialogue to be able, that's built on that level of trust.